During the night, the Russian army simultaneously attacked Kyiv and the region with ballistic and cruise missiles, as well as attack drones. A video showing the aftermath of the enemy's attack appeared online. According to rescuers, 4 people were killed in Kyiv as a result of the massive strike. Another 22 people were injured. In the Dnipro district, rescuers found the bodies of 2 victims in one of the buildings. In the Darnitsky district, a medical worker was killed during a repeated strike. Another 4 medical workers and 5 rescuers were injured. According to city authorities, residential buildings and infrastructure facilities were damaged in 5 districts of Kyiv. At least 7 apartment buildings, a shopping center, a store, and a sanitarium were destroyed. Currently, there are water supply disruptions on the left bank of Kyiv. Due to the massive attack, emergency power outages have been implemented. 4 people. A mother, father, grandmother, and 5-year-old child were rescued last night from rubble in Brovary district, Kyiv region, after enemy shelling. All were hospitalized for carbon monoxide poisoning. Last night, Russians attacked almost all districts of Kyiv region with strike drones. Rescue workers operated at 11 locations. After the strikes, fires broke out in residential buildings and warehouses in the Obuchiv, Brovary, Borispil, and Vishhorod districts. Last night, the Russian army may have used a medium-range ballistic missile system that the Kremlin calls the Oreshnik. Possible explosions were heard in the Lviv region. According to regional authorities, a critical infrastructure facility was targeted in an enemy attack. Before this, the Air Force Command had warned about the threat of the enemy using ballistic missiles from the Kapustin Yar range. A video appeared online allegedly showing a medium-range ballistic missile strike on the Lviv region. However, official sources have not yet confirmed this information. According to the Air Command, the western aerial target was moving at a speed of about 13,000 kilometers per hour on a ballistic trajectory. The type of missile will be determined after all its components are examined. A 77-year-old woman was killed. 24 people were injured, including 6 children. Last night, Putin's terrorists struck Kryvyi Rih with 2 Iskander missiles. The explosions went off near residential buildings. One of the injured is in serious condition, and another is in extremely critical condition. In total, there are 18 people in the hospital, including boys aged 7 and 16. According to local authorities, 29 apartment buildings were damaged, including 10 very seriously, and one of the buildings was practically destroyed. A hostile missile had already hit the destroyed building back in November 2024. At that time, a mother and her 3 children died in their apartment. In addition to residential buildings, an infrastructure facility in Kryvyi Rih was also hit. An emergency response center was set up at the sites of the strikes to assist the victims. Here, people can apply for assistance with building materials, relocation, as well as for financial aid from the city. Several districts lost power during the strike, including mines where people were working at the time. At one of the mines, 7 rescuers were left underground. Rescuers used a generator to start the lift and brought the workers up to the surface. Kryvyi Rih has been under enemy attack for the 2nd day in a row. The Russians are literally launching shaheds at the city in swarms. A mother and her 2 children were injured as a result of a nighttime Russian shelling in the Kherson region. According to local authorities, around midnight, the occupiers shelled the village of Tekstilme, which is part of the Kherson community. The 7-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl suffered multiple shrapnel wounds, while their mother sustained a blast injury and an acute stress reaction. All 3 have been hospitalized. Overall, in the past 24 hours, as a result of Russian shelling on the right bank of the Kherson region, at least 4 people have been killed and another 10 injured. According to regional authorities, as a result of the enemy strike on the central part of Kherson, 2 men died at the scene, and another civilian died shortly after in the hospital. In addition, 2 more civilians were injured as a result of the strike. And on the highway near the village of Tarashevchenko in the Berislav community, Russian forces attacked a civilian car with a drone. As a result of this attack, the man died at the scene. Another victim was taken to a local hospital in moderate condition.
Friends, regarding the Oreshnik, or Skvorchnik, as Ukrainians jokingly call it, which landed in Lviv region today, most likely. Oh, that's more of a media weapon right now, seriously. And if it really did land in the Lviv region and struck with something heavy and blunt, about as blunt as Putin's biography, that's some target, then again, it's more about making headlines than actually trying to cause real damage. If they say it can't be shot down with what Ukraine currently has, well, seriously, we really don't know what or how it could be shot down. Yes, there are officially declared American missiles. There is an official statement that it can't be shot down by certain means. But we don't really expect our commander of the Air Force, or the American one, or someone from the UK to come out and say, "Dear armchair experts, here's the full breakdown for you. What we have, what we will have, what we are transferring, what we are buying, what we are testing." No, that's not going to happen. So things might not be as simple as they seem. That's the first point. Second, the Oreshnik, as a weapon designed to bypass air defense systems, only really makes sense as a carrier for a nuclear warhead. That's the whole point of splitting those 1,200 kilograms into 6 parts of 200 each. It carries 1,200 kilograms. That sounds really scary, but that's if it fell as a single piece. But in this case, it's 6 separate objects. Not one terrifying 1,200, but 6 at 200 each. Yeah, 200 is still a lot. That's still bad, but it's less than a Kinzhal or an Iskander. Those carry 480. And how many Iskanders and Kinzhals have hit? And how many of them have we shot down? And what happened when we didn't shoot them down? Well, we've seen enough of that. And 10 missiles flying at once are also hard to shoot down, you have to admit. But this year, we're shooting them down better than last year, especially compared to the year before last. We're learning too. We've got our own experience now. So, Putin is shaking his gray Oreshnik, a Iskander missile, purely as a threat, hinting he could load it with a nuke. And he's not threatening us, but you're at. That's why this Oreshnik is flying over Lviv every day. It's an expensive, heavy piece of hardware. It flies to Western Ukraine to send a message to the Europeans. Are you threatening to deploy a contingent in Ukraine? Are you threatening to deploy your troops in Western Ukraine? We consider them a legitimate target. Look, we can hit there if we want. They can't. In reality, both regular missiles, ballistic ones, cruise missiles, Kinzhal, Iskander, and drones, all of them bring a ton of trouble. Today, Lviv region was under attack. Stry, Lviv itself, and the whole Lviv Oblast. Kyiv was hit very actively, explosions everywhere. Obolon, the left bank, the Dniprovsky district. For anyone interested, I was posting photos, videos, and updates almost in real time all night about where things were flying. Now I've synced it either on the official Sazonov Telegram channel or Facebook for those who use it. Kyrylo, by the way, rubles. You can check it out there, subscribe. I post everything there so I don't overload this place with photos and videos. Back to our nuclear topic, this is just to scare Europe so they won't deploy troops in Ukraine. In theory, Putin is threatening that he'll stuff nukes in there and strike at the locations of European troops, but Ukrainians aren't even afraid of nukes anymore. Last night, people in Kyiv were only worried about the roads being icy and how it's nearly impossible to get to Shekhovitsia, honestly. Even if European troops are stationed on Ukrainian territory, Putin still won't use nukes. That's obvious. He says he can, he shows that he can, that the missile can reach its target, but it's a one-man show for Europe. But it's a bad show. Here, the old tragedian has long since turned into a clown, eyes too red, nose too blue. And his hand holding the Kinzhal shakes so much now that it's no threat at all. Putin knows perfectly well that if he launches a nuke toward the west, even if it actually makes it there, say somewhere near Lviv, within 24 hours at most, he'll be envying Maduro. He understands this perfectly well. And that's why nothing will happen. There will just be headlines. At this point, it's either a nuclear weapon or a media weapon. He's not going to use it as a nuclear weapon. As a media weapon, it's already being used. We're not afraid. I think Europe isn't really that scared either, though sometimes their fear pops up at the most unexpected moments. I'll repeat myself. If you're interested in the details of what's happening, like the shelling, check out the Sazonov official Telegram channel or Kirill Pravdarub's Facebook. Links are in the description of this video. So who in Russia could actually use Oreshnik with nuclear weapons against Ukraine or Europe? In a certain state of mind. Medvedev. And Putin just can't drink that much anymore. Friends, subscribe to the channel. I'd be happy to see you here. Ukraine will prevail.